All right, welcome to my Epic Buddies, the podcast. And I say podcast because there's multiple mediums in which you can engage with this content, but the best way is the blog. Yeah, my epicbuddies.blogspot.com. But that's too much to remember or type in. So wherever you are enjoying this content, look for a prompt of more info, intro, description, something of that nature. If you activate that, another box opens and it has a link to the blog, the free blog. And you don't even have to put your email address in. So, the yeah, so today was a good day. Well, it started off a little negative with them not looking at the salaries, or did they? Okay, so I'll show you why I'm saying that. But I'm a little distracted because I'm looking. There's a show on the TV. This is the second time they've run it, so I was able to record a little bit of it earlier today. This is Samir Al Nasari, so he's talking. Look at this machine right here. So this guy, I don't think I can make this larger. Oh, he's gonna stack these up. These are, 25K no Iraqi dinars. He's gonna stack them up, and then a band comes out of here and wraps around it. So imagine having that job, but they don't show it. Well, actually, it freezes. It's gonna freeze. Yeah. So it just froze. So I'm gonna try to get it again. They're showing it again. This will be the second time that I've seen it. So hopefully they'll show it one more time and I'll be able to get a little bit more. No, what I do know is he's talking about the banking reforms that Sadani talked about today, and we'll get into that too, that they will affect the Islamic banks and the private banks as well. All right, so I do know that, but I'm hoping tomorrow there'll be an article out um, of him discussing what he discussed, because they also have, I can't remember that guy's name. On the same show, they talked to two other. One is a economist, and then I think one is like a analyst of some sort. But anyway, all right. So let's get into this. So I did early in the morning, and it's a little early right now too. So usually I do this an hour from now, and maybe there's other news that comes out, but whatever. We'll just get to it tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day, a new week. All right. So Barty, well, I call this Baghdad Sidesteps Kurdistan salary talks as citizens struggle. So the first article that came out, the Council of Ministers' disregard for Kurdistan salaries reflects a lack of concern for the citizens' crisis. Okay, so normally they have their meeting on Tuesday, but this week is the a larger celebration of the Arborine pilgrimage. And so a lot of the different, what is that, provinces, governance, whatever they're calling them now, are shut down 3 days, 4 days, some of them all days. So instead of doing the meeting Tuesday, they moved it early and did it today. But so he says he doesn't think they discussed the issue of salaries at all. And he says it is unfortunate that the federal government continues to procrastinate, delay, and fail to form committees and issue reports, while the people of Kurdistan are suffering greatly. Heck, I wouldn't even want committees and reports. Just pay me my money. All right, anyway, June salaries should have been paid at least during today's session, pending the completion of discussions on technical issues, most of which do not relate to the KRG, which is Kurdistan Regional Government. which agreed to release the oil. The problem lies in the legal aspects and with the oil companies, which want guarantees in exchange for resuming exports. So the oil's not flowing, not from, there's always oil flowing in Iraq. It's a sea of oil. They're a bed on a sea of oil, right? Someone described them like that. But the the issue with this is Kurdistan's oil, specifically that Sihan Kurdish pipeline, because that's where our companies are, right? Remember Apikur, the Apikur guy, Miles B. Kagan's the third? Yeah, and what did he say? I want guarantees that I'm going to get paid the back pay you owe me and a future mechanism for payment, right? Yeah. And he was like, we'll even take more oil. You don't have the money? Pay us in more oil, right? He even said that. But so the people of Kurdistan should not be burdened with this lengthy discussion. So, pretty bad day if you lived in Kurdistan. And then the reason why I said, did they really not look at it was this guy says the Kurdistan salaries file will be presented to the Council of Ministers after all issues are resolved. Well, how does he know there's issues? So I think maybe they did look at it, but it's still the what's her name? Miss Sammy, the finance minister. She wants more files because they put out an article. Oh, I'm not even going to try. They put out an article in Kurdistan saying, "Oh, we have 800,000 members in my account system." She was like, "Really? Now, do you? Okay, well, I need to audit all 800,000 of those." So, yep, she put in a request for all 800,000 of those people, because see what they were doing in the past, and not just Kurdistan, it was happening in Baghdad. They called them ghost files, remember? And there were, because many of them have the same name, and we have the same problem here with people naming their juniors, or Robert Allen, John Smith, right? Bill Robinson. There's a lot of names that are the same, and so you sometimes get cross files. Well, the same thing over there. They have a lot of the names that are the same, but they were intentionally, there may have been one Muhammad Yaqub, I'm just making up a name, right? But that one was collecting 5 checks, right? So, yeah. So she probably wants to reconcile the files to make sure that's not happening. And that was a new thing. And then, whatever's going on with oil, we can't believe what they say, right? Because we have no way. Anytime they want to slow things down, they can say something about the oil, right? And we have no way to verify that. So, whatever. Okay, so moving on. This, the, what is he? Financial advisor, Mohammed Saleh. He confirmed the success of the 3 fiscal, monetary, and trade policies in working together is what has led to the continued convergence of the exchange rates in the parallel and official markets. So the rate has been, the parallel market rate, it's been bouncing all around, but it's pretty much the same, 1387.5, and then sometimes that goes to 1390, and then if it goes to 1390, the other rate, the bid ask, whatever, is like 1407, 1409. So there's lots of articles today where they're saying the dollar is stable, stabilization of, um, whatever, right? So it's been 2 weeks now they've been doing that. So it'll probably do the same thing this week. Like I said, this all the people, they've let in so many people for this holiday that Sadani said they might have to reverse the path of how they walk along. There's a certain road they walk along that gets them to their final destination, which is I don't know, a shrine, I guess you call it. He's having to possibly move people, and they've had to thwart some attacks. Someone gassed, someone let off some gas, so like 600 people. They didn't get majorly injured, but they needed treatment. So it's just a shame, what they do. It's one of their holiest times, and they choose, whoever it is, they choose to do that. And then what makes it even worse is it's visitors, people. They come from Pakistan, Turkey, Iran. Most of them come from Iran. But anyway, so I'm saying all of that because the rate may jump up a little bit this week. I don't think so though, because they were all coming in this week. So now they've been there. They should have whatever money they're going to spend, right? So, even the title says white noise supports exchange rate stability in the Iraqi market. So then he goes, and it's another one of those 3-sentence, 3-paragraph articles. The continuation of these general policies constitutes positive information for the market known as white noise, which is a condition that makes the market maintain stable rates and prevents the parallel market from taking any negative directions. Whatever you want to call it, we like it if it keeps it all good, right? Then it says the parallel exchange market is now moving toward convergence with the official fixed rate, which is the rate that you see on the CBI site 1310, which is considered one of the strongest stages of stability in the monetary market as a result of the success of the 3 pillars of economic policy. So he said that he they may have interviews too, but I didn't see them. Okay. All right. Now here is the meat of today. Sudani announces decisive steps to reform Iraqi banks and restore confidence in the financial sector. And that picture, that could be chopped and used from another time. But so he came out and said there's 3 basic steps. Now, it's a little weird. I'm going to give you Positive Paula and Bad News Brenda from both, from the same articles. So emphasizing the need for implementation. So whatever this is, it's already been approved. Because remember, in Iraq, they do things in 3. They approve, they implement, and then they activate. So they're moving, or he wants to move to the next step, which is implementation. All right? To be based on a balanced vision that takes into account the specificities of Iraq reality and ensures enhanced confidence in the banking sector. So, Sudani was briefed on the latest developments related to the banking reform paper. So, are we on another white paper? And who wrote this? Who developed it? I don't know. Or is it the one that is it his government program and he's getting an update from all the other parties that have been working, the other committees that have been working. So, particularly those related to private banks. So that's why I was like, he's talking about private banks. Samir al-Nasari's on the TV talking about private banks. I think it's all good, but we'll see. So, appreciating the efforts made by the CBI in preparing the document. So, they prepared the document, which aims to enhance financial stability, achieve transparency, and raise the efficiency of the banking sector. So, there we heard that again. There he's talking about private banks. If they do this, the cost of contracting with foreign companies will be established, as well as binding timelines. And that's what foreign investors want. They want they want guarantees that things are going to happen, right? They want their costs up front and know that, okay, halfway through you're not going to raise the cost, right? So, yeah, that's why I say it's more than just changing the rate. There's all this other stuff, these other laws, which we know they've been sitting there waiting. So it's not like they have to do the laws all over again. They just have to move them through. All right, um, so they formed a joint technical committee to review reform requirements and ensure their compatibility with the national, financial, and economic reality in a manner that maintains a balance between reform requirements and the capabilities of local banks and protects interests of investors and workers in this vital sector. So there's 3 approved steps, and then they talk about the steps, and they need to be applied to international standards, right? They need to be up to international standards. Here about improving the business environment. Now, this is another economist. The banking reform is part of a broader economic reform, right? And that raising technical standards for banks will boost the confidence of depositors and investors. However, he warned that the lack of effective communication with the public could lead to unjustified fears and sudden withdrawals of deposits. All right, this is bad news, Brenda. Gradualness. Okay, if you should read this article because if it could seem to say they're actually slowing down. They were going to try to do this one big, okay, today we have a new banking system, but clearly that's not working, right? Because he wanted it done countrywide by July 1st. Here we are almost halfway through August, right? So now I guess he's pulling back and saying, well, we can't do it overnight. So we'll do it gradually and with transparency, and announcing measures will be key in the success of reform, calling for a supportive legislative and financial environment to reduce risks to the local market. So perhaps some things have happened that they didn't realize were going to happen, and they're like, okay, we need to come at this a different way. Okay, so that's Bad News Brenda. We're done with her. She's gone. Positive Paula's here. And okay, good. You recognize this is a large endeavor. But you could change the rate. The people know. The people are not dumb. They know how to calculate. They know how to match, Turkish lira to Iraqi dinar. They know how to do that. So they could change the rate, put the new money out, and then gradually you have bring your more that was about to be bad grammar. Bring on the private banks, bring on the Islamic banks. I mean, it's probably taking so long because he's being fought because of the corrupt people. Now here's an image they had in one article. These look like 3 different types of ATMs, right? And doesn't this one look older? Look, it's boxier. It just looks like maybe this was the first generation. This one over here was the second generation. And then look how slim and trim this one is. But you can't see, because whatever writing is on the screen, it's in Arabic. But yeah, I thought that was interesting and I wanted to show that to you. Oh, so again, here's another article. So this is how you know this is important. They want the citizens to see this. I'm going to try to catch the news and see if they go over this document on the news so the citizens understand. It pretty much says the same thing. I just wanted you guys to see. But there, one of these does say strengthen the dinar or strengthen the national currency. Let's see. This is a guy complaining. Oh, wait, that says 1 of 6. Okay, let's go down. 300 billion dinars. Okay, this is Ali Alak. He spoke also today. Okay, so we're going to come back to that. So let's close this. He's the one talking about strengthening the dinar. All right, so let's see. Okay, yeah. So we moved on. There was a guy complaining. Oh, no. Let's see. There is a guy complaining, but we'll get to him later. All right, look, we're at 20 minutes already. But this is the most important news that came out today. That's why I wanted to spend the most time. Okay, so then here they're talking about the Iranian currency again. This was the image they had in the article. Them next to, so they're telling them what the Toman is going to be, right? So they're moving forward. Okay, and then right in the middle of that article, here we have a little update on the talks with the neighbor. Us talking to the neighbor, that the next set of talks may be in Norway. All right. So it's just, you never know what you're going to get when you open these articles. Here's an article again about money and integrating the private sector into the tourism sector is a good way to attract hard currency that they can add to their foreign reserves. So this is Safwan Kwase, and he was interviewed about it, and he was saying they're coming from all over, so they go to hotels, restaurants, transportation, and they bring their money. They have millions of tourists annually, so tourism is a sustainable source of income. All right, so if you want to read that, that's there. This is the guy criticizes the central bank standards for reforming the banking sector and offers a solution. Okay, whoever he is, he's an economist. Mustafa Al-Faraj believes that the standards set by the Central Bank of Iraq for reforming the banking sector are strict and prohibitive and unworkable, right? So, and then he's even talking, look, he says there's 43 local banks that are being kept from dealing with the dollar. What we saw, it said 35, right? So he says 43. Yeah. So, and he was being interviewed on TV. That's a snapshot of, that's the background they were using. But I think that really is um, what it looks like, at the time of this show that comes on. Yep. So, of course, there's always people that criticize, but he does actually give a plan. Here's the plan right here. If you want to read it, if I had more time, I would go over it, but I want to focus on this. So, the central bank governor announces funding for housing projects and discusses the international praise they receive for dollar transfer operations. So he announced today, Sunday, that the bank has financed a bunch of housing projects for that amount of billion, trillion dinars, right? And Iraq is unique in being the only country that successfully carries out these operations, which he's talking about the way they have to transfer dollars, because they were the only ones who've ever had a dollar auction like they used to. So they had to find some way to integrate, right? And that's what they chose. So this is the one. So this is same article, a little bit more information. They want to provide suitable housing for citizens and do the loans, but also yesterday there I didn't post yesterday because there wasn't a whole lot, but there were articles about people aren't paying their mortgages, and what are they going to do? How can they help them pay their mortgages, right? So then today he comes out and says that they need to stimulate economic development and meet the local housing market's needs, contributing to improving the lives of Iraqis and enhancing social stability. And here it is noteworthy that these achievements come in light of the central bank's ongoing efforts to strengthen the Iraqi banking system, support vital sectors, and ensure the stability of the Iraqi dinar exchange rate in a manner that serves the national interest and enhances confidence in the local economy. So that was the good news. Plus, if I can find out what they were talking about on that TV show, that's probably more good news. And it's another way to get the information to the citizens, right? Okay, so if you like what I do, and I know you guys do, you guys are great. You support me and encourage me. And if you'd like to support in a financial way, I guess, here's the ways that you can do that. When this is live, Buy Me a Coffee will be a live link. Cash App is always live, and it's $ small letters, Tishwash, T as in Tom, I, S as in Sam, H, W, A, S as in Sam, H, and that's what I am at PayPal also. Big or small, I appreciate it all, and I thank you for your generosity in advance. All right, here's more about the popular mobilization forces. So this is out of Iran's news, right? And remember on the last episode, which is here at the bottom of this blog also, it's going to pop up if you watch this video to the end, which why wouldn't you? Right? A link to the last video will pop up also, and you can watch it that way, just so you're caught up. And thank you for thumbs up if you like that, and also subscribing. Hey, new subscribers! Someone put a comment in that she was a new subscriber. Welcome, welcome. All right. So yeah, so they're gonna keep talking about this until they do the last vote on it. Iran is really fighting for this because it gives them more power, and we are fighting against it, right? So look what Maliki did. This could be an old picture, or this could be a picture from today, because they both dress like that all the time, right? But State of Law Coalition warns Sudani. Escalation with factions threatens the elections and opens the door to chaos. So, man, if I was him, if I could lock him up right now, I would. Because that sounds to me like he's threatening him with, we're going to cause chaos if this conflict erupts, right? So, but that's just going to happen. They're going to continue to do that until either the elections come, or I don't know how they're going to move past that. I don't know, but it's just going to be in the news until it's not. All right. And just to show you how bold they are, right? How bold they're getting, because maybe desperation. I don't know. So President Barzani, and that is Daddy Barzani. This lady here, she's the first. She is. Wait, is she the first? So the U.S. Council people are there. Stephen Bittner. She's the new U.S. Consul General in Erbil. So his is done. Steve Bittner's time is up. She's coming in, and she may be the first woman in that position. I think I read that. But yeah, so she went and met the ruler of Kurdistan, right? Daddy Barzani. And then she went to meet Nephew Barzani, right? And I'm guessing she'll meet Son Barzani too. But here's another person. I just Mustafa Hantoush. That's the guy that's on the show with Samir Nasari. I couldn't think of his name, but there it is. So he's complaining also. The conditions are too much, too hard, too fast. All right. Oh, I put that there on accident. I moved that. Okay, so I think we may be done. Oh, BP brings back an oil field, brings it back online after a 21-year hiatus. Okay, yeah, so that's it. That's the last. if you want to read that. That's the last article on the page. And then I already have the last episode was called From the White House to Baghdad, because if you didn't know, an international group, went to Iraq to talk about legislating cryptocurrency. Isn't that interesting? So, yeah, so if you didn't watch that, you'll want to watch that. At least you know that part. All right, so I want to say thank you. I have no idea what we're looking forward to this week. It may be slow, like I said, because that holiday, they have anywhere between 5 to 7 million visitors, depending on which article you read. So I don't see them changing their money or changing the rate while all those people are there, right? So, yeah, and we'll see what kind of news comes out. Whatever there is, you know me, I'll be there to report it. So thank you again. Accumulate while we wait for the rate to appreciate. Enjoy the rest of your morning, night, noon, whatever time frame you are indulging in this content. And until next time.